Oh, hi. Hello. Welcome back to Dispelling the Mischief with Ish. On today's episode of Dispelling the Mischief, baby! It's a doozy. We're gonna go to the clips, okay?
Now, I know some of y'all saw this woman walking around in black, green, and red on Juneteenth and thought to yourself, well, why is she wearing those colors?
Excuse me, what? Y'all see this lady? Y'all seen her? I didn't see her. Did y'all see her? I didn't see you. Nowhere. Next.
I know you thought about it because I read the comments.
Nope. We didn't think that. We didn't. We did, however, think that maybe you were a genocidal sociopath. Maybe you just didn't know what you were doing. And I think some of us were willing to give the benefit of the doubt, right? Not me. Not me, though.
Let's talk about it.
Yes, let's. And then I can give receipts on why the proper representation is necessary. You go first.
Now, the official flag for Juneteenth is indeed red, white, and blue.
The official and only.
We got one star representing Texas, where the last slaves were informed of their freedom.
So you don't even know what you're talking about? In the aftermath of the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863 and the subsequent ratification of the 13th Amendment in 1865, which formally abolished slavery in the United States, many believed that the chains of bondage had been finally broken for Black Americans. However, the reality was far more complex. Despite legal emancipation, Black Americans continued to face systemic oppression, forced labor, mistreatment, and even modern forms of slavery well into the 20th century. The implementation of the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment varied across states, resulting in a patchwork of emancipation dates that extended beyond 1865. Some states, particularly those in the Confederate South, resisted emancipation and continued to enforce forms of involuntary servitude through exploitative labor practices such as sharecropping, convict leasing, and debt peonage. These states continued a more covert practice of effectively trapping Black Americans in cycles of poverty, exploitation, and extrapolation of wealth and intellectual property, while also denying full rights, freedoms, and autonomy promised by emancipation. An example of this was the rescinding of Special Field Order No. 15, signed by General William T. Sherman and passed into law on January 16, 1865 by Abraham Lincoln, 3 months almost to the day before he was assassinated, which stated that Black Americans were entitled to 40 acres and a mule, essentially reneging on the admission of a debt owed to Black Americans for over 246 years of free and forced labor, intellectual property, innovation, and wealth. States like Oklahoma, 1866, Washington, 1889, Delaware, 1901, Kentucky, 1976, even states like Colorado, 1877, and New Jersey, 1870, have emancipation dates that follow Galveston, Texas, because these states either did not officialize, legislatively adopt the 13th Amendment until after 1865, or were committed to continuing the ongoing systemic vestiges of slavery. Accounts like that of Miss May Lewis Miller, who was a lifelong servant born from parents who were sharecroppers and grandparents who were shadow enslaved, who was in bondage until the 1960s. The last slaves weren't freed in Galveston. This is why people who don't know enough shouldn't be so entitled.
A bursting star to symbolize a new beginning for Black folk in America. And the red, white, and blue represents the American flag to remind folks that our enslaved brothers and sisters were indeed Americans.
Enslaved ancestors.
Now, I chose to wear red, black, and green.
Again, going back to the genocidal sociopath.
Because those colors represent the Pan-African flag that was created by Marcus Garvey.
Oh, you mean the same Marcus Garvey that was in correspondence with Ernest Cox, a known white supremacist and grand wizard of the KKK? Huh? You mean the same Marcus Garvey that was the reason for the Garvey Must Go campaign? You mean Marcus Garvey, who's not a Black American and so thus has absolutely nothing to do with Juneteenth? That Marcus Garvey? Oh, wait, there's more. Y'all see what I see?
In 1920, Marcus Garvey created this flag to represent the people of the African diaspora and Black people being liberated in America.
Girl.
The red represents the blood of our people, the black represents our people, and the green represents the wealth and growth of Africa.
So you just gonna lie?
So the next time somebody asks you why you're wearing black, green, and red on Juneteenth, remind them that you are black, liberated, and always honoring the ancestors.
So the next time somebody asks you why you're wearing red, black, and green on Juneteenth, understand that it's because for 100 years, Juneteenth was always celebrated with red, white, and blue, baby. Because Juneteenth has nothing to do with Africa. Because the RBG flag incorporates ethnic groups that were complicit in the genocide and the causation of Black American chattel enslavement. Because we already have flags that can be waved for Juneteenth. That is indicative to the actuality and the authenticity of that day. But also because nobody else in the diaspora, as you say, uses the RBG flag for their Independence Day. Don't believe me? Receipts. So you don't want it for yourselves, but you're okay with it for us? Nobody else thinks this is a double standard? Anybody? Huh? The audacity that you have to practice cultural autonomy and then try to tell somebody else that they can't. So why should we? The reality is that we shouldn't, because Juneteenth is an Independence Day for Black Americans and Black Americans only. So people try to force upon us what they don't want for themselves is just, I don't know. Entitlement? Ethnocide. Erasure. The 3 E's, ladies and gentlemen.
Stay woke.
The irony, y'all. She telling people to stay woke as she still sleep. So at the end of the day, Juneteenth is a Black American holiday because Black Americans are Americans, all right? That's right. It's all about the red, the white, and the blue. Tell the truth, shame the devil, and study history correctly.